Have you ever noticed how your mind can become your greatest enemy? One moment everything is calm, and the next, your thoughts begin to spiral, replaying mistakes, imagining worst-case scenarios, whispering doubts that feel impossible to escape. The Stoics understood this struggle deeply. Long before modern psychology, they recognized that suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the stories we tell ourselves about those events. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And once you understand this, everything begins to change." Today, we explore how Stoicism teaches us to quiet negative thoughts, not by fighting them, not by suppressing them, but by seeing them clearly and placing them in their proper position. This is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming unshakable. And if the ideas you're about to hear resonate with you, if you believe mastering the mind is the foundation of a strong life, take a moment to support this message by liking the video. Welcome to How to Silence Negative Thoughts Using Stoicism, a guide to reclaiming control over your inner world. Lesson 1. Separate reality from interpretation. Negative thoughts often feel real, urgent, and impossible to ignore. They arrive with authority, as if they are telling you the truth about who you are and what your life means. But Stoicism teaches something radically different. Thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations. The mind does not simply record reality. It comments on it. And most of our suffering begins not with what happens, but with the meaning we attach to what happens. Imagine receiving criticism at work. The event itself is neutral and simple. Words were spoken, air moved, sound was heard. But the moment the mind steps in, the storm begins. This means I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. This proves I'll never succeed. Notice what happened. The pain did not come from the words. It came from the story added afterward. Epictetus explained this clearly when he taught that it is not events that disturb us, but the judgments we form about them. Once you truly understand this, distance appears. And in that distance, power returns. Now, instead of being swallowed by the thought, you can examine it. Ask yourself slowly and honestly, what actually happened? What part of this is observable fact? What part of this is my interpretation, my fear, my habit, my past speaking? When you strip away the added story, something remarkable happens. The emotional intensity weakens. The thought loses its grip. You are no longer inside the storm. You are watching it pass. This is not denial. This is clarity. And if this distinction between reality and interpretation has already given you a sense of control, take a moment to support this message by liking the video. It helps this Stoic wisdom reach others who need it. Also leave a comment below and write exactly this sentence. I observe my thoughts, I do not obey them. This simple act reinforces the lesson, not just for the algorithm, but for your own mind. Because the moment you learn to separate what happens from what you tell yourself about what happens, you take the first real step toward freedom. Lesson 2. Return control to what is yours. The Stoics divided life into two clear categories: what depends on you and what does not. This single distinction is one of the most powerful mental tools ever created. Negative thoughts often arise when you unknowingly cross this boundary. You begin trying to control what was never placed in your hands. Other people's opinions, how the past unfolded, outcomes you cannot guarantee, random events, or an imagined future that hasn't arrived. The mind exhausts itself chasing what cannot be commanded. But there is another side to this equation, the side where your true power lives. Your judgments, your actions, your values, your character, these are always yours. Every time a negative thought appears, pause and ask one quiet, decisive question. Is this within my control? If the answer is yes, then act with discipline and purpose. Improve what can be improved. Correct what can be corrected. Do what is required of you, fully and without complaint. But if the answer is no, then practice release. Not with frustration, not with denial, not with resentment. Release it with calm acceptance. because energy spent resisting the uncontrollable turns into anxiety, and energy directed toward what is controllable turns into strength, confidence, and self-respect. This is not passive thinking. This is strategic focus. If this lesson is helping you see where your real power lies, support this message by liking the video. It allows more people to reclaim control over their inner world. And in the comments, write exactly this sentence: I focus only on what is mine to control. Let that statement be a reminder to yourself and to others that peace begins the moment you stop fighting reality and start mastering what truly belongs to you. Lesson 3. Observe the mind without obeying it. Your mind produces thoughts the way the heart produces beats. Automatically, continuously, without asking for permission. And just as you don't question every heartbeat, you are not required to obey every thought. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought deserves your belief. Stoicism teaches disciplined observation, the ability to witness the mind without becoming enslaved by it. This is not suppression. This is mastery. Imagine sitting beside a slow-moving river. Leaves drift past on the surface of the water. You don't chase each leaf. You don't jump in to stop them. You don't argue with the current. You simply watch. Negative thoughts work the same way. They appear, they pass. And when you stop identifying with them, they lose their power. Most suffering comes from confusion, from believing that every thought is you. But there is a crucial difference. You can say, I notice this thought, instead of, I am this thought. That single shift creates distance, and in that distance, choice returns. You begin to respond instead of react. You remain present instead of pulled into imagined futures or painful pasts. And slowly, peace begins to grow, not because life is easier, but because your mind is steadier. If this lesson resonates with you, if you are learning to observe without obeying, take a moment to like the video. It helps this message reach others who feel trapped by their thoughts. And in the comments, write exactly this sentence: I observe my mind, but I do not follow every thought. Let that statement anchor you, because when you learn to watch the mind without becoming it, you discover that you were never the storm. You were the one watching it all along. Lesson 4. Accept impermanence. Many negative thoughts are rooted in fear. Fear that pain will last forever, that a single failure defines who you are, that loss is permanent and irreversible. But the Stoics remind us of a simple, grounding truth. Nothing stays the same. Emotions rise and fall like waves. Circumstances shift, often without warning. Even the strongest storms eventually pass. Suffering becomes heavier when the mind insists, this will never end. But that thought itself is an illusion. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and remind yourself, this moment is temporary, not to minimize your pain, not to ignore what you're feeling, but to prevent the experience from consuming your identity. You are not your worst day. You are not this emotion. You are not this moment. Impermanence teaches perspective. It allows you to endure without collapsing and to hope without clinging. Knowing that everything changes does not weaken you. It steadies you. Because when you understand that pain is temporary, you stop panicking and start standing firm. If this reminder of impermanence brings you even a little calm, support this message by liking the video. It helps this wisdom reach others in the middle of their own storms. And in the comments, write exactly this sentence: this moment will pass and I will remain. Let that be your anchor, because the mind that understands impermanence cannot be easily broken. Lesson 5. Train gratitude as a discipline. Gratitude is not blind optimism. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is not ignoring pain or difficulty. Gratitude is clarity. Negative thoughts shrink your world. They narrow your attention until all you can see is what's missing, what went wrong, what should have been different. They convince you that fulfillment lies somewhere else, in a different future, a different version of yourself, a different life. Gratitude expands the world again. The Stoics understood that gratitude is not something you wait to feel. It is something you practice deliberately, a discipline of attention. They often practiced gratitude by imagining life without what they currently had. Not to create fear, but appreciation. Not to induce anxiety, but awareness. The breath you take without effort. The body that carries you through the day. The ability to see, to hear, to think. The quiet moments others never notice, but that quietly sustain your life. When you slow down enough to notice these things, something shifts. The mind stops chasing endlessly. Contentment begins to form, not because life is perfect, but because it is present. Gratitude also reshapes how you meet difficulty. It does not erase hardship, but it balances it. Even in struggle, there is often something stable beneath the surface. A lesson, a support, a chance to endure with dignity. When gratitude becomes a habit, negativity finds less space to grow. Not because problems disappear, but because perspective returns. You stop measuring your life by what you lack, and begin grounding yourself in what already exists. This is why the Stoics saw gratitude as a form of strength. A mind trained to recognize what is enough cannot be easily ruled by fear, resentment, or despair. Gratitude does not make you passive. It makes you anchored. And from that anchor, you move through life with steadiness, restraint, and quiet confidence. Lesson 6. Reframe adversity as training. The Stoics did not ask life to be easy. They did not expect comfort, certainty, or fairness. They asked for strong minds. In Stoicism, hardship is not an interruption of the path. It is the path. Every difficulty becomes practice. Every challenge becomes preparation. Every obstacle becomes material for growth. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth in a single line. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What blocks you is not stopping you. It is shaping you. Negative thoughts often appear when resistance arises, when reality refuses to match expectation. But resistance does not have to harden into bitterness. It can be transformed into refinement. Ask yourself calmly and honestly, what is this teaching me? What strength is this demanding from me? What weakness is being exposed so it can be trained? Adversity reveals character the way fire reveals steel. Pressure does not create weakness, it exposes it. And once exposed, it can be strengthened. This perspective does not deny pain. It gives pain purpose. A setback becomes instruction. A failure becomes feedback. A hardship becomes conditioning for future trials. When you view adversity as training, suffering loses its power to imprison you. It no longer defines you. It develops you. In this way, pain becomes fuel, not a sentence. And the mind that understands this cannot be easily broken by circumstance. Lesson 7. Live according to reason, not emotion. Emotions are natural. They arise automatically, shaped by instinct, memory, and experience. But the Stoics were clear about one thing. Emotions are not leaders. If left unchecked, emotion demands immediate action. It urges reaction before reflection. It pulls the mind toward extremes: anger, fear, desire, regret. Stoicism teaches a different order. Reason must guide action, not impulse, not fear, not momentary emotion. This does not mean suppressing feeling or denying what arises inside you. It means creating a pause, a space where reason can assess what truly deserves a response. You can feel anger without becoming violent. You can feel fear without retreating. You can feel sadness without surrendering. Reason does not eliminate emotion. It governs it. When you live this way, negative thoughts lose authority. They are no longer commands you must obey. They become signals, information to be evaluated, not orders to be followed. You begin to ask, is this thought useful? Is it true? Does acting on it align with my values? And if the answer is no, you let it pass. This is how inner freedom is built, not by force, but by judgment. Not by silence, but by clarity. If this final lesson speaks to you, if you are learning to let reason lead, take a moment to like the video. It helps this philosophy reach others seeking steadiness in a chaotic world. And in the comments, write exactly this sentence. I let reason lead, not emotion. Let that statement mark a commitment. Because the person who acts from reason cannot be easily shaken by passing feelings. And that is the foundation of true inner strength. The Stoics never promised a life without pain. They never said that misfortune, loss, or disappointment would be removed from your path. Life is full of challenges, storms, and moments that test every fiber of your being. What they promised instead was something far more profound. A life without unnecessary suffering. Negative thoughts will appear. They always do. They arrive unbidden, often at the worst moments. But when your mind has been trained in awareness, discipline, and calm judgment, they no longer control you. They are like clouds passing across a clear sky, visible, sometimes dark, sometimes fleeting, but never defining the sky itself. You are not here to silence your mind by force. You are here to master it through understanding. To see each thought for what it is, a signal, a message, a reflection, not a command. To recognize that feelings arise and fade, that circumstances shift, that pain can exist without destroying you. And once you learn this, the storms still come, the winds still howl, the waves still crash, but they no longer knock you off course. You move with them instead of being dragged under. You bend instead of breaking. You stand firm because your strength comes from within, not from circumstance, not from comfort, not from the fleeting approval of others. True peace is not found in the absence of struggle. It is found in the ability to remain steady within it. It is found in the knowledge that while life is unpredictable, your mind, your character, and your response are yours to guide. It is found in choosing what you control and letting go of what you cannot. It is found in living each moment fully, seeing thoughts clearly, and responding with reason instead of fear, action instead of panic, understanding instead of blame. If this reflection resonates with you, if you feel a spark of clarity, a small sense of calm returning, take a moment to support this message. Like the video, so others seeking calm and clarity can find it too. Subscribe and allow these timeless lessons of Stoicism to become part of your daily journey. And in the comments, write exactly this sentence: I master my mind, I do not obey it. Let this statement be your anchor, your reminder, and your commitment. Because mastery is not a momentary achievement. It is a daily practice, a lifelong journey, and the quiet power to remain unshaken no matter what storms come. Walk forward with this truth in your heart. Pain will come, challenges will rise, thoughts will attempt to control you, but you are not at their mercy. You are the calm at the center. You are the steady hand. You are the unshakable mind. And that is where true freedom, true resilience, and true peace begin.